is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to cover on the program today, and cover we will. Oh. I'm just setting everything up still. Welcome. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. There's so much to cover today. It's one of those days, there's like so much to cover, you don't know what to cover, right? Or not, don't know what to cover, but don't know what to lead with. But I know what to lead with. Yes, and we will be taking calls. Okay, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. I'm going to start the main stream in a couple of minutes, and that is where you'll see and hear all the audio and everything that I play, so you will not want to miss that. If you want to see and hear all the audio and video that I play, you have to go to the main stream. There's one piece of audio that I want to find. I've got so much to cover. I'm just queuing up some. As soon as I queue up a couple things, we're going to start the show. Welcome, everyone. This lunatic, I want to share this with this lunatic. A lot of liberal lunatics to cover today. There's a couple things I want to make sure that I don't miss, so I'm queuing them up. One more. I will when I start. I'm just queuing some things up over here on the side. And then I'll be centered on the screen, don't worry. Okay. I'm just queuing up some of the audio that I want to start with. Here it is. Okay. All right. Now I am going to start my main stream, and just to let you guys know, when I start the main stream is linked in the description of the video. Okay. On this stream with the green behind me, you can see and hear me and the callers. But to see the audio and video that I play, you got to go to my main stream, which I'm going to start in a moment. The link's in the description. And if you want to call in, the number is there, toll free. All right, let's go. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. And this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. And boy, a lot has happened. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to start talking about Mamdani in New York and taking your calls. We got a lot to cover. The president is in Japan right now, so we'll obviously be covering that. And quite a bit involving the president over the weekend. But I'm going to start talking about Mamdani. And, you know, I know people are just going to say, well, you know, he's going to win. Maybe, probably. But, you know, we still got to expose what's going on here. Now, there's a couple things before I get into some of the audio. And if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. If you're listening live, you're welcome to call in. There's a couple of things happening in the New York mayor's race that I want to run by you guys, and then we're going to go through this. One, as you'll hear in these early sound bites I play, Mamdani Zohan is hitting pretty hard the Muslim card. And he's literally saying, if you don't vote for me, you're racist, right? He started talking about this story with his aunt, which I'll play the audio of it in a moment, at a press conference. 9/11 was the victims of 9/11 were, you know, his grandmother and Muslim people. He's playing this Muslim card pretty heavy. And what I want to ask you all about that is, do you think that's a sign of weakness on his part? You know, he's kind of gone in, you know, everybody knows he's Muslim, no mistaking that, but he hasn't talked about it, he's avoided it, he hasn't wanted to talk about 9/11, wouldn't condemn the global intifada and all that stuff. So he's been kind of under the radar so far as the Muslim thing. Now he's hitting it really, really hard. Why do you think that is? You know, my guess would be, and I don't want, and by the way, I am not predicting that he's going to lose. It's an unknown. You can never underestimate the stupidity and self-destructive behavior of Democrats. So they're favored to elect him as mayor, which is insane and stupid. But him playing the Muslim card so hard, do you think there's any possibility that his internal polling doesn't show him with the home run victory that everyone's assuming he's going to have? It seems to me that playing the Muslim card is an act of desperation to desperately try to get the Muslims to go out and vote for him. What are your thoughts on that? Why? I mean, what other reason would he do this? Now, I saw a story over the weekend. Early voting's begun in New York, and they're saying that the turnout is high. Now, again, we're talking about a Democrat election here, basically, but is that, you put together early voting turnout is high. He's playing the Muslim card. To me, that tells me his internal polling show that there's a possibility that he will not win and that he's not as far ahead as he thought he was. That's what it reads to me. You know, going out and telling the world and telling New York City that the victims of 9/11 were Muslims in this country is insanity. And why else would you do that unless you were very, very desperate to get your base of support out, and that would be, of course, Muslims. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'll play this audio. The number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're tuned in at, 888-465-2631. If you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, to see and hear all the audio and video I play, you got to go to my main stream, which is linked in the description of that video. Okay, so here's the moment when Zohan came out and started talking about his grandma and the hijab. And I call total BS on this story, and I'll give you some reasons as to why in a moment. I hear the crying, fake crying. See the tearless sobbing, the tearless crying there. Okay, a couple of things about this. One, to me, this does show desperation to get the voter turnout. You know, when it comes to polling, the polls that we see on television are pretty much all BS. The internal polls that the campaigns have, they're truly scientific polls, and they never are released to the public. And those are the ones that are accurate. The polls that we see in the news are push polls, pushing opinion in certain directions. And for him to come out like this to Muslims in New York with this BS story and the crocodile tears, with the early voting turnout high, to me shows that the early voters, his early voters, aren't turning out, or they're doing some exit polling of the early voters, and it's not in his favor, at least, or he's not as far ahead as he thought he would be, or he wouldn't play this card. And here's the other thing: I call total BS on this story about the grandmother. I saw a tweet on, people were going nuts. New Yorkers were really upset about this. And I saw one guy who said something that is similar to what many other New Yorkers have said. He said, my grandmother had to stop taking the subway after 9/11 because she was killed in the World Trade Center, right? And I've seen many variations of that all over X over the weekend. Maybe you guys have as well. So him trying to tell us that Muslims were the victims of 9/11, desperate act, alienates and pisses off, for good reason, a lot of people. Oh, his aunt. I'm sorry, not the grandmother, the aunt. By the way, does anyone know, I put this in the thumbnail on the main live stream today, these rings that he wears. He wears 3 rings, okay? One of them I'm going to assume is his wedding band. He wears a pinky ring and then a ring on his index finger, and he wears these on both hands. Does anyone know the significance of these rings? I was looking this morning. I couldn't find any members of the media who did any investigation as to what these rings are about. And I think it's important to know. I mean, this guy's a high-profile person running for mayor of New York City. He's got a pinky ring on, and then he's got this ring on the other hand on the index finger. There's something up with those rings. I don't know what it is, but there must be something they don't want us to know, or they'd write stories on it. Mm. Oh my goodness. You know, this really shows you that Mamdani is from a whole nother culture, not Western civilization. that he doesn't look at America the way an American would. I want to look up one thing. I meant to look this up before the show today. But does anyone know when he came to the United States? Let me look up on his bio here. When did he come to the United States? Let's see here. He was born in 91, so he was 10 on 9/11. So when did he come to the United States? Does anyone know what year? Let's see here. He lived in Kampala till he was 5. Then his family moved to Cape Town, South Africa. The family then moved to the U.S., settling in New York City when he was 7 and was raised in Morningside Heights. So he was 7. So he was 10 when 9/11 happened. And he was in the United States. And he was in New York. Now, again, he was a child, a little boy. But the victims of 9/11 were not Muslims or Muslim Americans. And the fact that he thinks that they were, or at least with his fake tears, is trying to present that they were the victims of 9/11, shows that his heart and mind is not that of a New Yorker, in my opinion. What do you guys think about that? This little statement alone should be enough to cost him the election. Because what he's saying here is not only wrong, un-American, un-New Yorker, highly offensive, but it shows that when he's running for mayor of New York, it's showing in his heart and mind he's not a New Yorker. He doesn't think like a New Yorker, like an American. To have such a bizarro viewpoint such as that. Now, if you're new to my program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be live on the radio in about 30 minutes. This is the pre-show. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. And I want to remind you that, of course, the early show here is brought to you by the great Mike Lindell at MyPillow. So make sure you go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. This is the last week of the month starting today, and Mike Lindell and his staff are going to review at the end of the month, which is less than a week away, whether or not they're going to continue the extra sponsorship of the program. So I need you guys to go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and load up, because I'll be speaking with them Monday, a week from today, next Monday morning, and they're going to tell me if they're going to continue. And their continuance depends on you using my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and taking advantage of all the great deals. All right, let me answer these phones, and then we'll go to them. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's me. Oh, sorry about that. How are you? Oh,
what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Lynn, and I'm calling from the Great White North, Canada.
All right, Canada.
How are you?
All right, Canada. What's on your mind?
Well, this is BC, the Independent Party against Trump.
Okay.
Do you know that one?
No.
You know who I am then, right? You've heard?
I have no idea who you are. No one cares about the anti-Trump party in Canada. You have no influence.
Well, no, we're not worried about the Trump party. We aren't even going to attend it, even if he was to invite.
Why are you calling me? I've got a lot on my plate.
I want to know why there's so much narratives being pushed out that people want this to go one way, and we don't even really know. What is the this?
Yet. I don't know what the this you're talking about is.
What do you think of Mike Carney and what he's recently done with Trump and telling him basically to kiss my ass, and so is Ford and the Toronto Blue Jays are not going to win the World Series?
Well, I don't care about the World Series. I care.
Well, no, you don't.
No. Are you sober?
What do you
don't sound sober.
I am very sober. Trust me.
Oh, boy. You asked what I care about? Okay, I'll answer that. I care about the United States of America. That's what I care about. Okay, America
so why
first.
Would that be a problem?
Huh?
What seems to be the problem with your government now again?
We don't have a... Well, what happened is Canada, that premier who's the brother of that crackhead you guys had up there, the brother of the
crackhead. Well, yeah, you know what? The brother of the crackhead is no better than the fucking brother to the other brother, the other crackhead.
Boy, oh boy, they have class acts in Canada.
They're all crackheads up there.
I didn't realize people in Canada were such low class. You sound intoxicated. You're using profanities.
You know what? Pardon me?
I said you're using profanities. I mean, pretty classless.
Oh, does that offend you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that you were so sensitive.
It's not that it's offensive. It just shows that you're a person of low class.
Of low class or lack of your class?
I would say in America we have
right?
In the United States.
Did you get a bachelor's degree too, bro?
In the United States, we call it white trash.
Did you get a bachelor's degree with a paper that fucking says you graduated from college or university with a master's, right?
Okay. I would think, usually the way I end a call is by thanking the caller for their call, but if I did that with you, I'd be lying.
I will thank you.
All right, take care. Oh my goodness, that's Canada. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
When this guy, first of all, Muslim Brotherhood is connected with Hamas and all these extreme organizations, but these are the people that are literally coming at the United States diplomatically, not with terror.
That's right.
But they're behind all the terror. Mm-hmm. And I remember they wanted to build a mosque right next door to the World Trade Center. It was in a vacant building, and there was a big outrage.
That's right.
You want to know? First of all, he's calling for the race card. Basically, he's calling all Muslims that you're discriminated against, and you got to come out and vote for me. And he's also trying to pull that race card on everybody else. You know who the victims of 9/11 were? The people that died that day, but everybody that's gone to
Americans. America were the victims, and it certainly wasn't Muslim Americans or Muslims. And here's the thing, Richie. I'll let you get your thing. I got plenty of time. I'm here till 9. This is the pre-show, so I'm not rushing. The fact that he went out there and had that press conference saying my mom and her aunt, and my aunt, and with the fake tears and that the victims of 9/11 were women who wear hijabs, that was an act of desperation to me. And that tells me his internal polling's not looking well. For him to come out of the closet saying such offensive things in New York, do you agree with that? It shows desperation?
Well, I think it does, but it also shows that he's pulling the race card on like I said, he's pulling the race card. He's getting all his
on liberals, though. On liberals, he's been avoiding the race card for months. Now, all of a sudden, it's every word out of his mouth.
Exactly. He's been doing it. He's been doing it about a week now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's gotten to the point. Listen, the victims are, and 9/11's carried on. Every time you go to an airport to take a plane, you're a victim of 9/11 because they never had to go through all this. All these young people are going to vote for him. First of all, I got scared to death. I went to Las Vegas just afterwards. We had tickets to go to Las Vegas, my wife and myself. And I never forgot. We got back on a plane coming back, and there was like 7 of them in the back. And they were all
Muslims after 9/11? I can't believe you got on the plane.
I was scared to death,
I wouldn't have got on. I would have gotten off. I would have deplaned.
See, let me tell you, we were already on there, and they were back there talking their stuff and loud, and people. It was a midnight flight coming back to Fort Lauderdale.
No way would I have flown on that flight. I would have gotten off. Did you see them before or after it took off?
After it took off, they were in the back.
You saw
and
after.
Everybody on the plane was uncomfortable. Now, the reason we weren't comfortable was not because we hated Muslims. We didn't trust any of them because for the first time that I can remember, people that literally were sane, they weren't crazy, but driven by a religion, decided to take jets and crash them and kill all those people into the World Trade Center. I'm going to tell you right now, President Trump even doesn't know. President Trump could be as tough as he wants to be, and I respect him 150%. But unless you're in Israel and you're betting Yahoo knowing how these people are. Their whole purpose in life is not just to kill Jews, it's to kill Christians. They want to take the world over, and that's the Muslim Brotherhood.
And they've taken London, and hold on. They've taken London, and they're about to take New York City now.
Yeah, I believe he's going to win this.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to sit here every day and say Zohan's going to win. Zohan's going to win. I mean, I'm not going to just.
I know.
I'm just not going to concede the world's greatest city.
No, I want us to fight all the way. But if we do lose the city, what are we going to do at that point?
Listen, obviously he's probably going to win, but this race card that he's playing shows that if he's ahead in the internal polls, he's not as far ahead as you think he is. They're concerned.
I hope he loses. I hope, and I'm not against all Muslim. We're going to, once again, I remember that everybody was afraid to open up their mouth because they didn't want to be called an Islamophobe, you know? It's just the same thing with what the Democrats have pulled with the transgender. Don't say anything because you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're every other darn thing. Well, I want to tell you, as an American, having it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, right? It's not to have this guy representing the mayor of New York at 9/11 next year is a total disgrace.
Yeah, I mean, look, now this is
short-term memory.
This is CBS News, okay? This is on the early voting, all right? Voters in New York City hit the polls Saturday as early voting got underway. Preliminary numbers from the Board of Elections, nearly 80,000 checked in across all 5 boroughs. 24,000 cast their votes in Manhattan, followed by Brooklyn, then Queens, the Bronx, and then finally Staten Island. You know, so I don't know. I don't see people being motivated to go early for Zohan. I think and again, I am not predicting he's going to lose. That'd be crazy. However, we have 2 indicators that things aren't going as well for him as we're led to believe. One, the race card with the Muslim card. 9/11 was about Muslims being victimized, he says. And the early voting, in particular in Manhattan, that got hit the hardest on 9/11, okay, those things factored together don't work in his favor, I don't think.
No, you take a look. And listen, Brian, not for nothing. How many times did they catch somebody trying to blow something up around Times Square after 9/11? I know New York had to put these barricades up, these cement barricades. This is no joke. This isn't because we don't like Muslims. This is no joke. These are people that want to destroy the West, and he happens to be affiliated with them. And that photo that he took with
the 9/11 or with the World Trade Center '93 terrorist, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't just a photo. This guy is really the sheep in
that
clothing,
was another desperate move. He's desperate to get the Muslim vote out, and I'm here to tell you that even if he wins, him winning by the smallest bit possible is very important. Now, these 2 factors are not in his favor. We could get a surprise. In here. All right, Richie, I'm gonna run, but take care. We'll talk again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas.
Hey, Texas.
Hey, man. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, look, 2 quick things. I always hear you talk about the Biden crime family, and all this and all that. When are you going to bring up about Don Jr.'s company is selling drone parts to the DOD, to the Department of Defense? You're not supposed to do that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you do.
No.
Research it.
No, I don't know. You know, I got news for you. You know what the difference between the Biden family businesses and the Trump family businesses are? Do you know what the difference are? What are the differences between the Trump and the Biden family businesses?
No, tell me.
Well, it's pretty simple, okay? What are some of the businesses that the Trumps have that you can think of?
I'm not talking about that.
I don't care what you're talking about. Okay.
They're dealing real estate.
Real estate, crypto, right? Hotel rooms.
Golf
club memberships.
He's not
okay, now slow down. Now list for me the Biden family businesses.
They don't have businesses.
Well, then why are they so rich? How'd they get so rich?
I don't know. You tell me.
I want to tell you. Okay, the Trump family made their living selling golf memberships, hotel rooms, and such. The Biden family made their millions selling out the country, selling favors, taking political bribes, payoffs. That's the difference.
Okay. So when Trump met with this foreign leader, he said, "I want to talk to your son, Eric, because he want to make a deal." And again, why don't you say anything about the drone thing?
The what thing?
The drone. The Don Jr.'s company is selling drone parts to the DOD, to the Department of Defense. And you know you're not supposed to do that.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, research. Another thing for you hang up on
I'm not going to sit around and do your research. No. You kidding me? You think I'm going to? Okay. You think you're going to call in and say, "Well, research it"? I'm going to spend valuable time of my life. You know, I'm beyond. One thing. I have less than half my life left, right? At my age, I have less than half of my life left. You think I'm going to waste?
How old are you?
I'm 54. Okay.
I'm older than you. I'm 59.
Okay. Well, you have less life than me. Okay. So you think I have already gone through, unless I get really lucky. I wouldn't mind living to 108. You know, I'd like to see that tricentennial in 2076, but it's doubtful. More than half of my life is over, and you think I'm going to waste precious moments of the life I have left researching liberal bullshit that you call in with? I don't think so. Oh, my goodness. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man. We'll take a quick break. All right, yeah, guys, make sure you go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code Kane at checkout. Remember, Mike Lindell is sponsoring this early show each and every weekday morning. So make sure you go to mypillow.com, promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, because this is the second month, and they're going to review it at the end of the month. And I have a meeting with them a week from today, and they're going to let me know if they're going to continue. And that depends on you all going to mypillow.com and loading up. And you really should. I mean, it's Christmas shopping season begins Saturday, so do your Christmas shopping. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Dave in Virginia.
Hey, Dave.
I just wanted to have your listeners, I know you got a lot of Virginia listeners, and they need to talk to their friends out here and keep this Abigail Speinberger and Jay Jones from getting in there. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they got a commercial every hour on YouTube, every hour. So the Democrats are going all out.
Well, you know, hold on a sec. You're getting those the commercials that you see. Whatever, you know, everybody watching sees different commercials. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the commercials are based on you as an individual. So you're getting targeted in Virginia, right? So, you know, I mean, so let them waste their valuable money advertising to Republicans, the Democrats.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I know. I've been telling everybody. Yeah. I go around telling everybody, you know, you can't let that woman in there because she'll change everything back around the way it was, you know, wokeism and all that. That's horrible.
Yeah. By the way, I did, as we were speaking, I looked up the thing that the guy from Texas who said he was in Canada the other day. Okay, about this drone thing with Don Jr. Okay, I'll let you. By the way, appreciate the call from Virginia. All right, let me just read. This is in Yahoo News, but it's in the Financial Times, but it's in other places as well. Right. So this is a liberal story. It looks like President Donald Trump's family is once again using the White House as a personal piggy bank. How is that a way to begin a news story? A Florida-based drone manufacturer linked to Don Jr. just received its largest ever contract to supply parts to the Pentagon, the Financial Times reported. So what connected? Okay, so here we go. Don Jr. is on the company's advisory board. He's been there since 2024. He owns $4 million in stock in the company. $4 million in stock. You know what that is to the Trumps? That's like weekend cigar money. It's like nothing. It's like peanuts. But even so, it's a company that manufactures drones. They manufacture something. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Chuck Schumer, and the Bidens, and other Democrats are millionaires many times over. What businesses are they in that generates that money? The only thing that they do is sell favors, take bribes. That's what they do. At least with the Trump family, hotel rooms, drones, crypto. That's it. Golf club memberships, things like that. Things that you can see and follow and touch and hold sometimes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Paula.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Paula. I'm calling from Tennessee, Florida.
Oh, Paula, Tennessee, Florida. I've never heard of Tennessee, Florida. What part of Florida is Tennessee in?
Tallahassee. I just moved from New York.
Oh, Tallahassee, Florida. Okay, that's our capital. I know Tallahassee. Tennessee, Florida.
Well, yeah. First of all, hello, Patriots. And Zohan will fucked up New York big time. Mm-hmm. So wake the fuck up, New York.
Yes.
If you don't want our country to be like British.
Or Cuba. Cuba or London. Yeah, you're right.
I'm telling you, this is not right. So
why did you move from New York to Tallahassee, Florida? Tallahassee is a weird place to move to in Florida.
New York is getting crazy.
Yeah, but out of all of Florida, why Tallahassee? It's not on the ocean. It's a tiny little college town. That's not even hardly really Florida.
I like Tallahassee. I went to Jacksonville for a couple years, but I hate it.
No, Jacksonville's terrible. It's very dangerous, very liberal.
It's terrible.
Very liberal.
Like little store get robbery and shoot every day.
Oh yeah. They have the highest murder rate. They have a very high murder rate. President Trump maybe should send the National Guard to Jacksonville, Florida. It's a blue city in our red state.
Trump should, yes. Yeah. I mean, UK is getting very bad. But Tommy, listen, he's a very good person.
Getting back to Mamdani, though, everything you said is correct. And by the way, you say
he's going to fuck this up. Yeah. I like your show so much, and I love all our patriots in there.
Well, thank you. Well, welcome, and thanks for calling. Call me again sometime.
Bye.
All right, take care. All right, good call from you. You can tell by the way she says the F word. She's a New Yorker. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
The Comicrats have this habit of doing that fake crying bit.
Yes.
That Mamdani did. Usually it's the female Democrats, the Fannie Willis's and the people like that do it. The last Comicrat male that did it to somewhat success was Bill Clinton during the whole Monica situation, right? But again, this is a tactic they use to try and pull on your heartstrings.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't remember him crying over Monica Lewinsky. I'd not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I remember that. I don't remember him crying. He did do some fake cries. I don't remember him fake crying over that one. He may have. I'm not saying he didn't. I just don't remember it.
Well, he fake cried because he got caught.
Yes.
So there. But that's the thing. This guy, obviously, we know about his mom being a director and all that stuff. In Bollywood and Hollywood and all that stuff, right? Yep. We know that.
Yep.
And he's probably been trained somewhat in being an actor, and he knows how to do this stuff.
Yeah, he does. All right, Mike, I appreciate the call. So I'm going to play this again. Let me ask. This is what Mike was talking about. I think he's fake crying here. Do you think these are fake tears, Mamdani? See, what he's doing there, that's an actor's move to try to get into the moment of the scene. Isn't it? He's trying to get into the moment. See the head down. He's trying to get into the moment. Now I'm going to tell you why that story. I'm calling BS on it for a number of reasons, which I've discussed. But here's another one. That story is a variation of a story that Obama used to talk about with his grandmother. Remember, Obama used to tell this story that his grandmother in Hawaii. She was a bank executive in Hawaii. He would say, this is in his book on tape. I used to play audio of him saying this during the Obama 8 years. Obama said, my grandmother, when she was riding the bus and a black guy got on the bus that she didn't know, she'd hold onto her purse tight. In Mamdani's case, it's his aunt, not the purse, the hijab in the subway. It's the same story, just rewritten a little bit, right? It's like plagiarism. I call total BS on that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, man? I was just watching it. My name's Scott. I'm from Chicago.
Scott in Chicago. What's on your mind?
Oh, not much, man. For one, I heard that girl Paula on there. I think she moved down to Florida because a man brought her down there. Just a little side note. But what's really on my mind, man, is what do you think? What do you think about all this AI? What's your take on AI?
Well, I don't know. That's a rather vague thing. I mean, you got to be more specific.
Okay. Well, I just see this like being incorporated in everything, like the Google, all the social media, but more importantly, the phones. And
what do you mean?
I don't know, like the AI processing chips. Like there's,
it's not as new as people think, right? Like I give you an example of something that's been going on for years. You're having a conversation, a private conversation, and then you open up your Instagram app, and then all of a sudden there's ads, promoting, trying to sell you whatever you were talking about. Like I remember my wife was in the hospital for surgery. And all of a sudden I was getting ads about going to nursing school in my Instagram feed. So, AI has been following and monitoring us for 20 years everywhere we go. And depending on which AI you're talking about, most of the AI, like when people talk about AI, they talk about different things. But like, for example, like ChatGPT and stuff like that, it's really just a very, very fast internet search engine is what a lot of it is. It's what it is. I'm not crazy about the video and the voice changing stuff, because that can get a little scary.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, for one, the ads thing, that I believe that's just because, you grant access to the microphone when you do the updates, and no one. Well,
you're always being spied upon, and they use an artificial intelligence to monitor you wherever you go. They know where it's not just the microphone. No, the AIs in social media have been tracking you every time you walk into a gas station and make a purchase on Apple Pay or Google Pay or something. They've been doing this forever. It's not as new as people think.
Yeah. So I do agree with that. They've been trying to collect data for a long time. I guess just the point I'm trying to get to is that I know that.
But I'm trying to figure out what that has to do with anything I've been talking about, though.
Oh, you know what, man? I just seen you, and I just wanted to.
I don't just take random calls from people that want to talk about anything. Watch the program, and when you hear me say something that you take issue with, then you call me. You don't just, it's not it's not open mic night, right? All right. Appreciate the call. All right, take care. When people are new to the show, they don't know, so I'm just explaining. So we're going to the radio show will begin in just a couple minutes. Hold on, let me check. We just hit the top of the hour. Okay, we got about, okay, let me see. Okay, we got about 4 minutes and we'll be on the radio. So I'm going to replay this clip from Zohan when we get back. I got a lot to cover today on the program, and I got a lot of audio from Zohan. But basically, I believe that Zohan Mamdani's mom, daddy, whatever his name is, that his internal polling is showing that he's either behind or not as ahead as we're led to believe. And you know, I was talking earlier, the early voting began over the weekend. Early voting turnout is high, and it's the highest in Manhattan, which of course is ground zero on 9/11. So I think the Muslim card and the race card that he's playing is desperation. And with the early voting, they also have exit polling that they're doing that we're not going to see. They have internal polls that are scientific as well as exit polling. So if they were getting information on their internal polling and the exit polls from the early voting that he was way ahead, he wouldn't play this Muslim card. It's risky. It's a desperate act. Now again, I am not predicting he's not going to win. I don't want you to misunderstand, because I don't want to get a bunch of calls the next day. Oh, you predicted. I'm not predicting that. But what I'm telling you is that Mamdani and his staff, he's not as far ahead as you think. He may be behind, but if he's ahead, he's not it's not a home run. This is a very, very high. You know, 9/11 is a sacred thing to trample on, like he did in this clip. So when the radio show starts, I got to reintroduce this clip, and then I have some other ones I haven't shared yet. Okay, but again, guys, make sure you go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and let Mike Lindell know that you support him and you're supporting me. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com. And you can use my promo code on any of the specials you see at mypillow.com, okay? And there's a lot of them there. And start doing your Christmas shopping early. And this early pre-show is brought to you very specifically by Mike Lindell at My Pillow. All right, so you gotta go to My Pillow and let him know with my promo code Kane, of course, Kane at checkout. Great deals, great time to do some Christmas shopping. My wife just picking up some new towels. She might have ordered them already. We were talking about the towels the other day because they were out of stock for a while, and they are selling fast. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We got about a minute until the radio show begins. So I don't want to take any. I don't like to take calls when we get to the 6 a.m. mark, just in case they mistakenly click us on early with some of the salty language going on with some of the callers. Now, from this point forward, no profanity on future calls. I'll have to hang up and dump it from this point forward. We're less than a minute away. Okay, stand by. All right, 20 seconds. Welcome to the program. My name is Brian Craig. It is Monday morning, October 27th. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, we've got a lot to cover today. I've got a lot to cover here early on with Zohan Mamdani here in New York. And I'm going to tell you in advance, if you caught the pre-show, you've heard me talk about this, but this is Zohan came out of the closet as a hardcore Muslim over the week. Now, we've known he's Muslim. It's not that it's been a secret that he's Muslim, but he came out hardcore with it over the past few days. It started with the photograph that he took with that imam who was one of the terrorists from the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. And then over the weekend, he went way over the line. Early voting in New York City has begun, and it is high. And it's the highest in Manhattan. 80,000 have voted in Manhattan. They're number one over the weekend on the early voting. And Mamdani, after that second debate, which no one won, Mamdani going hardcore. He's basically, well, not basically, he is saying, if you don't vote for me, you're a racist. And I'm going to play a few audio sound bites, but the first one is a very offensive one from him talking about 9/11. He wouldn't play the Muslim card, the race card, or be saying these crazy things about 9/11 if his internal polling showed him he had this race won. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not predicting that he's going to lose. I'd like to be able to do that, but I can't. You can never it's a crapshoot is what I'm telling you. They're doing exit polling with the early voting and the internal polling. Now, the internal polling, there's a difference. The polling that you and I see is called push polling. It's not scientific, and it's meant to push you in a certain direction. And the internal polling, or the polling that the campaigns see, it's never released to the public, and it's scientific polling. And if Mamdani's internal polling showed him winning this with a home run, he wouldn't be doing these things. Here's the first one. This is a press conference he had over the weekend. Oh, my goodness. Always sirens in the background. Okay, so he's tearing up without any tears. He's the tearless crying. And he does a motion right before he does it where he puts his head down. He's talking about it, and then he says, and then he puts his head down. That's an actor's move. A lot of times actors, when they're trying to get into the moment, when there's a performance going on and they're trying to get into the moment, you may have seen actors do this. They look down and try to get into the moment. So he's thinking of something that'll make him cry, right? And then they lift their head up and they do their performance. That's what Mamdani is doing here. He takes a moment to get to do this acting technique of getting in the moment. See, there it is, getting in the moment, the pause. Oh my goodness. See, now, yeah, see there he got in the moment, and no tears, but he's crying. Okay, now this thing about the aunt in the subway with the hijab. There were people, this really pissed off New Yorkers over the weekend when he said that. This is highly offensive. It shows a lot about Mamdani. One, I think it shows desperation in his campaign. Nothing could convince me of that. There's a panic inside his campaign to say something so offensive about Muslims. Second, it shows that in his heart and mind, he is not only not a New Yorker, but he's not an American. The victims of 9/11 were not Muslims, all right? And the fact that he says that shows that in his heart and mind, he's not an American, and he's certainly not a New Yorker. That's the second thing. There's other things, too, that I'm going to get into as we go on. And, listen, I understand. I'm not a fool. The odds are in his favor by far. But with this kind of desperate move, here's another clip of him talking. Listen to this. This, see if I have a date on this. I'd forgotten when this was. This is when he was running for the state assembly. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to calls after the break. This is Mamdani when he was running for the state assembly in New York, which wasn't that. Nothing with Zohan was that long ago because he's so new to the scene and young. See, lulls us into believing. So he's saying here that he's not a New Yorker. The idea in his mind, the idea that you can immigrate to the United States and become an American or a New Yorker, to him is a lie. Listen. Wow. Hear that? First off, on 9/11, everybody was pulled out of class. They were evacuating the schools, so that's strange. But again, notice again, the victims of 9/11 in Mamdani's mind are Muslims. And, you know, here's the thing. If this were out in California, as bad as it would be, it wouldn't be this bad. He's like walking distance from ground zero, and he's telling us that the victims of 9/11, yet again, it's a common theme, are Muslims. See, now, this story doesn't make sense to me, because he was going to school in New York, and he said when 9/11 happened, he was in school and his teacher took him out and said, you're going to be bullied. They evacuated the schools on 9/11, remember? Because they were afraid schools were going to be targeted. So I'm calling BS on this story too. It just doesn't make sense. Well, why? By the way, this teacher, how did they know who did it? On 9/11, how did the teacher in the classroom know who did it already? No. No. Yes, you're so special. Well, that makes sense. He hangs out with terrorists, right? We saw him with the Imam unindicted co-conspirator from the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993. So I can understand them questioning his associations. See, again, with Mamdani, yet again, the victim of 9/11 are Muslims again. This is the third instance. The victims of 9/11 are Muslims, according to Mamdani, time and time again. Again, so now we got we're on The third instance of the victims of 9/11 are Muslims, right? That's 4 times. He had to fight. Oh my goodness. What does that mean? 4 times. Muslims, the victims of 9/11. What are your thoughts on that? If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. That was an official campaign video for his assembly race. Over the weekend, on Saturday, I went and had lunch. I had lunch with Dr. Appleton and Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing, and we had a great lunch at a great restaurant. And, you know, Dr. Appleton, I was with his robotic laser, his laser away pain treatment. You know, I've met listeners that are people that have physical jobs. I met one guy that's a listener that was treated by Dr. Appleton who installs carpet. And he went in to have his knees treated. He spent years on his knees laying carpet. And now he's, you know, after years of that, he's had pain in his knees. Dr. Appleton rid him of his knee pain. And I've met others who do physical work, whether it's on their feet all day or lifting and things like this, that have injuries or pains that have developed over the years just because of their lifestyle. Or maybe you're playing pickleball or tennis or golf, and you got that tennis elbow or something going on. There's all kinds of reasons that people have pain. But you know what? That does not have to be a part of your life. Go see Dr. Appleton. I tell everyone I know all the time, no matter where I am, about Dr. Appleton. When we were out to lunch, I was telling Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing about what a great job Dr. Appleton does, because he's got guys that spend their days up on roofs doing roof work, and that's a strong physical job. And if you've got the work-related pains, that doesn't have to be the way you live your life anymore. Go see Dr. Appleton. Maybe you're an employer and you want to send your employees over to see Dr. Appleton to get that laser treatment done and rid your employees of their pain. Give them a call. The consultation is free and appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays. So take advantage of that no appointment, free consultation with Dr. Appleton, and let him tell you what he can do to get you your life back, a pain-free life, like he's done with me 7 times. Here's the number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go to the phones after the break. All right. All right, hold on. Let me check a couple things. Now, if you're watching with the green behind me, if you go to my mainstream, you can see and hear all the audio and everything that I play. And the direct link to my mainstream is in the description of the video. So just click that link. It'll take you over there, guys. And if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take the calls after the break. Let me see here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Okay. We'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm going to play this clip coming up. I'm going to take some calls first. I'm going to play this clip on the radio. Listen to this. This is an MSNBC interview Zohan did. See, if you don't vote for me, you're a bigot, he's saying. If you don't vote for me, you're a racist. If you don't vote for me, you're an Islamophobe. And there's more to say about that, which I'll play. I'm going to play this on. I'm going to take some calls. I'm going to play this, and I'll talk about it a little more deeply. But if you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free. It's pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. We got about 25, 30 seconds. We'll be back. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. All right, I'm going to go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Hey, Rich.
A couple things I got to say here. Omar, okay? Elian Omar. She's a disgusting human being and nobody likes her, but she's voted in all the time because she's turned Minneapolis into little Somalia.
Yep.
You got out in Detroit, not Detroit, rather near Dearborn, Michigan. I think it's 5 or 6 times a day, including like 3 o'clock in the morning, on loudspeakers, the cry of prayer. And this guy in New York says that's the same thing as church bells. That's one of his comments. Then he gets up in front of black Muslims with a clerk that's in back of you on your screen, a Muslim clerk, and it looks like we look like Iraq, and he's talking to the Muslim community. That's like an Italian candidate going and he's running for mayor of all of New York, going in front of Little Italy, in front of a Italian restaurant with all Italians there. I mean, this is such a disgusting thing. People, you better wake up, because they took London, the first mayor of London that was Muslim. Now London is gone. You just have to YouTube, see what London's like. I mean, it's like you think you're in the Middle East.
And New York is next. But hey, listen, if you don't vote for Zohan, you're a racist, he says. You know, and when he, this is a very scary time. Hey, Rich, you're right. I appreciate the call. Now, why don't we play this clip? Then we'll go back to the phones. This is a weekend interview that Zohan did on MSNBC. Okay, so here's Zohan. If you don't vote for him, you're Islamic. Now, this thing where he says Governor Cuomo was laughing when a radio host said about cheering on at 9/11. You know where that comes from, right? Remember what the Palestinians were doing on 9/11? It was on CNN. When 9/11 first happened, and it was reported on CNN, there were live cameras, and the Palestinians were over there having the biggest celebration you've ever seen in the streets. They were throwing candy to the kids. They were jumping up and down cheering. Remember all of that? That's where that comes from. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Anthony. I'm from California.
Anthony in California. Speak up.
So I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a Trump supporter at all. Like, I'm very anti-Trump. I don't know if you take calls from people who are anti-Trump.
Of course. I don't know why someone would be anti-Trump, but No, but go ahead. No, we take calls from every. No matter what you don't have to agree with me to call.
All right. Well, I was calling because I came across your YouTube live. I was just scrolling through the lives.
Yes.
And I just had to ask: does it not dawn upon? I don't know if you have viewers who aren't like physically seeing you or just listening, but does it not dawn upon you how ironic it is that you are wearing a shirt that says freedom, and yet your hat says Trump 2028?
Yeah, that's freedom.
That irony not?
That irony not what? Finish the sentence.
How does the irony of that not dawn upon you?
Well, you got listen. I'm not some liberal from California, so I'm obviously not as intelligent as you because you see the world properly.
Well, I'm not a. I'm not a liberal.
Okay,
either,
whatever. No, the irony does not dawn on me. Explain it to me, please. I'm wearing a freedom shirt in it, with Charlie Kirk signature on it, and my Trump 2028 hat. Explain the irony, because I don't see what you're hinting at.
Because, well, the irony is that the founding fathers of this country. Well, actually, no. Post FDR, we amended the Constitution to make it so a president can only hold 2 terms.
Correct.
For that exact reason, because FDR was president 4 times in a row.
Well, not really. He died early on in the 4th term. Okay, so let me get this straight. So you're telling me, see, this is right out of George Orwell's 1984. You're telling me that freedom to you means the American people cannot vote who they want to vote for president? Is that what you're telling me freedom is for you? That's not what freedom means to me.
No. See, the entire rhetoric behind Trump 2028 is the exact opposite of what you're saying.
You're saying that freedom. You're saying that freedom should limit the ability for President Trump to run again. That's the opposite of freedom. The amendment that was passed in the 50s, giving us the 2 presidential terms, that is an erosion of freedom. That is the very opposite of freedom. So my shirt that says freedom and Charlie Kirk's signature and name on my shirt, being able to elect Trump for a 3rd term in 2028, that is freedom. To not be allowed to do it by the government is anti-freedom. I'm sure you see that. Do you see the irony in that?
I see what you're saying.
Oh,
see,
yes.
But this is like, what you're saying is an idealistic version of what reality would be.
Oh. Really?
Let
me ask you this. Okay, wait, hold on.
Can I finish my thought?
No, I'm not interested in that thought. But you called in and you said you're anti-Trump. Tell me something that Trump has done policy-wise in his 2nd term that makes you anti-Trump.
What has he not done?
No. What has he done? What has he done policy-wise in his 2nd term that makes you anti-Trump? And you say, I just can't tolerate this. You're anti-Trump because in his 2nd term he did this policy.
Okay, so we can. You know what? I'll do something very personal for you, since I could name off a bunch of things that affect people.
Pick one that
affects society on a macro level. But I'll pick a
bunch of word salads here. Be specific.
Okay, I'll be very specific. His tariffs have affected me personally.
How?
I'll give it to you straight. I'm 23. I'm 23 years old. I just turned 23 a couple
How has it
months
affected you
ago.
personally?
I'm getting to that. I started putting money into my retirement when I was 22, so I can retire at a decent age. His tariffs, when he first started his tariffs, utterly demolished the stock market, and my retirement.
Kidding? Everyone. That's okay. Hold on. First of all, I don't know what you're in. Maybe I don't know what stocks you're in, but the stock market is booming, man. People's money has gone through the roof.
Okay.
Look at people with 401ks and with investment funds. The money's gone through the roof. So that's ridiculous.
I have a Roth IRA account. So I can't touch the money until I'm 65, but I can see it. And
well, then who's ever advising you is an idiot, because there's a financial boom going on in the stock market. What stocks do you own that you see where they're going down?
It's just an.
Give me an example of a stock that you have in your Roth IRA that's cost you all this money, and you say you can see it. What's the current price?
It's just.
Give me the stock.
It's just the S&P 500 index fund. I don't have it in front of me. It's the S&P 500. Oh,
but you said you could see it.
That's what it's connected
Everything
to.
is up.
I have it.
Everything is up in the market right now.
I don't have it in front of me at the moment.
Why are you really anti-Trump?
I'm telling you this.
Why are you really anti-Trump?
Well, we can get into that, but I'm sure you don't want to hear that.
Well, I'm late for the break, but pick the biggest reason. Pick the biggest reason that makes you anti-Trump.
Okay, here I'll give you this. The entire ICE raids on communities, specifically communities that I see and I live in, and I see the way that this is affecting people.
Really? So you believe that federal fugitives from justice should be allowed just to roam free in America? Federal fugitives.
Do you believe that people? So you want? Let me ask you a question. So do you think that people should come into this country legally, correct?
Like Melania did, and President Trump's mother did. Exactly, yes, legally.
Okay, sure. Okay.
What do you mean, sure?
So,
what do you mean, sure?
I'm saying sure. I'm okay. That's what you believe.
I heard sarcasm in that.
Let me ask you the follow-up question. So when you
didn't answer my question. You didn't answer my question. You don't answer questions with questions. I asked you, do you believe that federal fugitives from justice should be allowed to be free? Because what ICE is doing is rounding up federal fugitives. Illegals are federal fugitives.
That is not what's happening.
It absolutely is.
No, I don't. So see, this is what the entire.
Do you agree that the illegals are illegals criminals? Are illegals criminals?
I do not believe, personally, I do not believe that you crossing a country's border, quote unquote, illegally makes you a fugitive. It does not make you a bad person. If you don't show
up to your court date.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, sure. If you don't show up to your court date, it does. Now you didn't show up to court. It's a crime. Okay. Why don't you go walk across? Why don't you just go walk across? You're in California. Walk across the border to Mexico, and go to the emergency room and try to get some free housing. Listen, I'm very late for the break. I got to run. Listen, you're young, and your mind. How old are you?
23.
23. Your mind is still not fully developed. You got 2 more years. Hopefully, in the 2 years you got left until your mind, your brain fully develops, you'll wake up a little bit. All right. We'll be right back. Ugh. Boy, oh boy. Hold on one second, guys. This is bottom of the hour break. We'll take a quick break and be right back. Hey guys, okay, so I pulled this up, all right, during the break. This is the S&P 500 chart, year to date. Look at that, we're up. Up, 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 up. Look at this, up, 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 up. There we are. So he says he's in the S&P 500 and he's being hit hard. Year to date, it's up 923 points as of now. So, Oh, my goodness. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, and I'll go right back to the calls. Look at that. S&P 500. You can just Google that on your own. He said he's invested, but he can't tell us any of the stocks, but he can see them. I tell you. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We're in a radio station break right now. And I'll have a podcast this afternoon. Less than 2 minutes and we'll be back. And I'll go back to the phone calls. Okay, hold on, guys. Less than a minute. We'll be back, guys. Now, if you're watching with the green behind me, if you want to see and hear all the audio and video that I play, go to my main stream, which is linked in the description. All right? All right, we are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. I double-checked just to be sure, but the S&P 500 is not only up, it's way up, over 900 points up in the last year. So I don't know what that guy from California, I think he was just making crap up. What do you guys think? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Scott. I'm from New York.
Scott from New York. What's on your mind?
When every time I just had to call in because these everyone posted in the chat, Camilla 2028, quit smoking reefer, and people are spoken with a shirt on like yours and a hat saying Trump 2028, quit smoking whatever you're smoking. He can't run again because it's ridiculous to even suggest he can. Come on. We need better candidates on both sides. We don't want Bernie Sanders. We don't want Kamala Harris, any of this shit.
Okay, first dump of the week. First dump of the week. All right, there you go, Mike. There are exceptions to every rule, but when we have to use the dump button because of the language that's not allowed on the radio, what percentage of the dumps do we have to do to liberals versus our MAGA people, right? Out of every 100 dumps, what percentage of them are liberals and what percentage are MAGA people? In fact, the few times it happens with a MAGA person, it's just a slip of the tongue. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's so bad, but there you go. That's New York. It's too bad he did that because I wanted to. He obviously is a Zohan Mamdani guy. All right, so here he is. This is his press conference over the weekend, surrounded by Muslims, mostly black Muslims. Mamdani. This is CNN. Nope. That's right. Okay, and that was them talking, and he, Jennings on CNN, he's right on the money about that. 9/11 was the largest attack on this nation in history. We had a loss of life greater than Pearl Harbor on 9/11, and he, I've never heard someone say that the victims of the Pearl Harbor attack were Japanese people. But Mamdani is saying the victims of 9/11 are Muslim people. I went really long with that lunatic from California at the bottom of the hour. So I want to apologize to you for the short segment, but I want to take this break on time so that we'll be on schedule for the rest of the show, guys, okay? So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be on time from this point forward, and I've got a lot more to cover. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I got to play this clip and make sure that it's radio safe. So hold on, I got to play it for you guys. Listen to this nonsense. Okay, good. Okay, I want to make sure there was no profanity in that, so I want to play that when we get back, and because I've got some things I want to share. Are those Stephen Colbert glasses that they're wearing there? Okay, we'll be back in about 2 minutes. I know, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go through that. Oh, yes, I have to play that still. Keep that one. Okay. Okay. Come back with this one. We'll be back in 1 minute. I've got more stuff on Mamdani, but I want to bring up another thing or two before I get back to it. 30 seconds. These people are out of their minds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Okay, so I've got a lot more on Mamdani, but which I'll get back to in a bit. But there's a few other things I want to touch on here early on, so I don't forget. The liberals are losing their minds over the demolition of the East Room for this new Trump ballroom, which is kind of a replica of the one at Mar-a-Lago. It's massive. I don't know if it's the same size as the one at Mar-a-Lago, which is huge, or bigger, but it's big and beautiful. And it looks like on the inside, the renderings I've seen, just like the one at Mar-a-Lago. The liberals have, all these crazy ideas. And over the weekend, liberals started presenting a crazy idea. Here's just one of many liberals. This is a liberal woman. Looks like she's wearing Stephen Colbert's glasses and has the same hairdresser as Rachel Maddow. And she has, this is what she thinks. This isn't her, this is what she thinks. And she's not alone. A lot of liberals believe what Donald Trump really is doing with the ballroom is this. Okay, so he's building a bunker so he and his staff can lock themselves in there and run the country and be president forever. That's right, the bunker. I know that's crazy, but liberals are talking about that quite regularly as if it's a real thing. And you know what? To them, it is a real thing because they're nuts. Okay, but it got me thinking. And I talked a little bit about this over the weekend. Those of you that follow me on YouTube, I was talking about this over the weekend on YouTube. There have been more assassination attempts on President Trump than maybe any other living president we've had. There were 2 last week. We've heard no follow-up. The most recent was the guy crashing into the front gate of the White House trying to get in. A week ago today, last Monday, we were talking about that sniper's nest at the Palm Beach Airport. There's been 0 follow-up on that. And of course, they did shoot him, and then the golf course, and there's been others. And while there's a bunker beneath the White House that we've heard referenced all our lives, when was that built? And I bet you that the current, so far as the bunker goes, it's all classified top secret stuff. The bunker currently under the White House, I bet you it was built when Truman gutted the White House. And you know what? I've been thinking about this over the weekend. I saw a lot of liberals talking about this Trump forever president bunker. But then it got me thinking, maybe there's something to this. Prior to the Truman gutting of the White House, which went all the way down to the dirt, if you've seen the pictures, there was no bunker. They didn't need a bunker. They had basements. There's a basement, sub-basements and all that, but they didn't have a bunker because there was no nuclear threat before that, right? We're the first nuclear power. In 1945, we dropped the 2 on the Japanese. There was no need to have a nuclear bunker. So I'm starting to think that this whole story we got about Truman with the piano leg through the floor of the White House is complete BS, that was a cover story to build the bunker underneath the White House. There's not been a major construction project at the White House since then, and I bet you that whole story, he was playing, the story goes, Truman was playing piano, the leg of his piano went through the floor of the residence at the White House. He had the experts come in and they condemned it. I bet you it was all a cover to build the nuclear bunker, so the president, there was a real threat of nuclear war then. Well, that bunker was built like in 1950-ish, right? I'm not sure what year, but that's when I bet you they built the bunker. And we don't know. This is all classified stuff. We don't know, but you got to have some common sense. So you're dealing with a bunker that is 75 years old. So whatever that bunker is, it's with technology from like 80 years ago. And I bet you, 1, it's small, 2, small. Things have grown, and it's not really set up properly. They probably it's probably not deep enough. It's probably too small, and they don't have the abilities that we have now with the modern technology, which would be, with it's probably not independent with the internet and all these things. And it's also, there were no EMP threats then. So, so my question to you is this, and we probably will never get 100% confirmation on this ever because it's classified top secret. Do you think that what's going on with the tearing down of the entire East Wing is a cover to build a new bunker at the White House to protect all of our presidents in the future, not just from nuclear attacks and terrorist attacks, but from EMP strikes and such? And I bet you it is. I am 99.9% sure that this is a cover to build a new bunker underneath the White House to protect all of our presidents with a big modern bunker. The bunker they have there is not a functioning bunker. Technology has advanced too much, and it can't survive the modern weaponry. I'm telling you. And I bet you that's exactly what's going on. What are your thoughts on that? And if you look, what really got me thinking about this were two things. One, these liberals talking about the Trump forever presidency bunker, but then the president released the list of donors for the ballroom. And on the donors are Google, Amazon, and some of the other tech companies. So, did not seem like, why would the tech companies be involved in the bunker? Because they're involved in the in the ballroom, because they would be involved with the construction of the new bunker that needs to be made bigger, larger, have capabilities that were never even dreamed of when the original tiny bunker was built by Truman when they got to the White House. Now, we don't know when the bunker was built. I'm assuming, and this, I never really thought about this till over the weekend, but the gutting of the White House was about building the first bunker. Now, Trump did talk in the first term about wanting a new ballroom. Don't misunderstand me. He wants a new ballroom, but that's just a sideline thing. The purpose is to build a new presidential bunker. In my view, I think that's exactly what's going on. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. At 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. 888-465-2631. Yeah, I mean, the tearing down of the entire the entire East Wing backs that up. And if you do any research on the bunker, we don't know anything about the bunker that's currently there. I've only heard it being used twice. That was by President Bush, used it on 9/11. He slept in the bunker for a bit of time, they said, but then they left the bunker. And then it was reported in Trump's first term during an Antifa BLM attack on the White House. They took him to it, but I'm not sure if that's true or just liberals were trying to paint him as a coward. Remember that? But that's what's going on here, and it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Why did they all of a sudden? When they took down the rest of the East Wing, there wasn't much there other than that walkway, and the walkway is when they totally lost their minds, right? So why tear down the whole walkway? Because they need it to get down there. They need extra big equipment to do what it is they're going to do. I'm telling you. Now, if anybody else speculates, you heard it first here. I talked about it on YouTube yesterday morning, but you heard it first here. They're building a new presidential bunker, a modern bunker underneath the White House based on all these things I just shared with you. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there, and certainly like to hear your thoughts on all of that and anything else I brought up so far. I want to take a moment to talk about Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell's been so good with us. He's been with us for many years here on the program. And, Friday is Halloween. Saturday is November 1st. And you know what November 1st begins? Well, Christmas shopping season, holiday season. There's no better place to do your Christmas shopping than MyPillow.com. And with our promo code Kane at checkout, there's just incredible deals. And by the way, those of you that are employers and you're looking for gifts to get your employees, great gifts. Give them the gift of My Pillows, the gift of My Pillow towels, the gift of My Pillow slippers and sheets. You will find so many great Christmas gifts at incredible deals with our promo code Kane at checkout. You can use our promo code Kane on all the specials at mypillow.com. It also makes a great place to do your own individual Christmas shopping, right? Anybody in your family have pets? Get the dogs, cats, get them the pet beds. They're just $39.98 with our promo code Kane. These are the best. I have these. They're 100% machine washable and dryable. And the MyPillow pet beds, which my dogs and cats have just loved for years and years, you can't tell the new one from the one I've had for years because they're washable and dryable, and inside they have the same patented fill as the MyPillows. There's great kitchen sets. There's something for everyone for Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever the holiday is, your Christmas party at mypillow.com, or your wife, your husband, or even your kids. If you got kids in college, get them the bed sets and everything else for their dorm rooms. Just great, great, great gifts. Go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right. So in the next hour, I'll get to more. I have more on Zohan, and I'll do a little recapping on Zohan. And there's a few other topics we'll talk about as well. If you want to call in, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, this is Adam from New York.
Hey, Adam. What's up?
Hey, I just want to apologize to you last week about the Candace Owens thing. I should never have called you,
Don't say it again. Don't say it again. Yeah, you used some very vile language. I remember that. I
just want to apologize to you and stuff, and
accepted.
You're a good guy. I always enjoy your radio program. You know what gets me is though
the setup.
These Democrats, okay? They're saying like they're going to arrest if they get back into power and stuff. They're going to arrest whoever complies with Trump's arrest and
they're going to arrest the ICE agents. Yes.
Yeah. Now, and then
hold on. I've only got 10 seconds, so hold on. Okay, stand by. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be back right after this. Right, now we can continue here on YouTube during the break, so go ahead, finish up.
Okay, yeah, Brian, I'm sure you've talked about Nick Fuentes. He said the other day that he's afraid of that they're going to try and set something up. Why should we, be afraid?
Well, first off, let me tell you, I want to tell you this straight out the box, okay? No one should be paying any attention to Nick Fuentes. He is, do you know who Nick Fuentes' biggest fans are? Who his biggest fans are? Who do you think?
I guess, white nationalists.
Nope. There's like 3 of those guys. Who? No, guess. I'll give you one more guess. Who are his biggest fans? I'll tell you. Liberals. Okay. Every decade, he is 2025's David Duke. The left like to prop up fringe lunatics and that they can view as racist or homophobic or this or that, and make them seem like they're representative of Republicans. His biggest fans are the Democrats.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, why should we feel have to be afraid to speak up when they're the ones attacking? They're the ones that are shot President Trump. They're the ones that murdered Charlie Kirk,
assassinated Charlie Kirk. Yeah.
And where are the Republicans anyway? Well, why aren't they?
The Republicans, they're running the country. I appreciate the call. There's not much to say there. But, that's true about Nick Fuentes, though. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, they always find, whether it's Nick Fuentes, Fred Phelps, David Duke, they like to find fringe, lunatic people that call themselves Republicans. Many times they're not. They're just publicity people. And make them feel and look a lot more important than they really are. Yeah. And then they try to make them the face of our movement. I've seen this go on my whole life. Okay, hold on. I I got to get things queued up here for the next hour. Okay. I got to get my commercial copy together. And then this one. And then this one. Looking for one. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm running out of time. Okay, found it. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Hour number 2 has begun. I spent most of the first hour. Oh, and by the way, just to finish up on my White House ballroom theory, I think it was Eric Swalwell over the weekend, started saying that the Democrats, when they run for office in the future, need to all run on tearing down that ballroom like it's the Berlin Wall. Because of the reasons I stated, they're not going to tear it down. They're going to talk about tearing it down, but see, I didn't finish my thought on that, so let me finish, okay? This is a very important point. So I was talking before the top of the hour break that I believe that President Trump, who does want a new ballroom, okay, he talked about this in the first term. What's really going on at the White House is they're building a new modern presidential bunker deep under the White House. And that's what, and President Trump is using the ballroom as a cover for that. But at the same time, he is going to, I hope he names it the Trump Ballroom or the Presidential Trump Ballroom or Ballroom 4547, something. I wanted to name it after himself. I hope he does. And Eric Swalwell was talking about tearing it down over the weekend. All Democrats need to run on the promise to tear it down. They're never going to tear it down. President Trump is going to have his ballroom legacy forever enshrined at our White House. Presidents in 200 years will be there because underneath will be the new bunker. And they won't be able to tear down the ballroom because it's part of the new bunker they're building. So don't worry about them talking about tearing down the bunker whenever they get back in the White House. None of them are going to be able to do it because it's going to be part of the new bunker, okay? That's why. And that's why, by the way, it's so big. The size of it is at least the size of the main White House mansion, it looks like. It looks bigger. It looks like the White House would fit inside of it because right next door to the West Wing is where they have the old executive office building where everybody works. It has to be so big above, so underneath it can house the government. I'm telling you. So don't worry, they're never going to tear it down. Okay, so I want to recap some of what I shared with Zohan earlier in the show, and then I'll get to the new stuff. And if you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. And it's amazing. Yeah, Trump is very smart guy. Very smart guy. Okay, so I was talking, just let me play the clip. This is Zohan over the weekend. Oops. Okay, I mean, this is, I call total BS on this. And what I was talking about in the first hour with this is this is a sign of desperation on Zohan's part. That I'm not saying he's going to lose. Okay, no one's saying that. I'm not going to say he's going to lose. However, I am saying that the early voting started in New York over the weekend. Turnout has been unusually high for an off-year election. The majority of the votes have come from Manhattan. Over 80,000 came in over the weekend by the latest story. That was yesterday, maybe higher by now. So Mamdani's campaign has been doing internal polling, and I'm sure they've been doing internal scientific polling as well as exit polling on the early voting. And either he's behind or he's not as far ahead as they thought they would be. So he's playing this Muslim card. This is an act of desperation, and it's very risky. It's a high-risk move he's taken. To go out and say the victims of September 11th were Muslims is crazy. Over the weekend, social media was going nuts about this, and I saw many variations of the similar thought. Yeah, he's talking about his aunt after 9/11 couldn't wear her hijab on the subway. I saw one guy who said after 9/11 his aunt stopped riding the subway because she was killed in the World Trade Center. That may be one of the reasons turnout is so ultra high in Manhattan, which is where ground zero is. So again, I'm not saying he's going to lose, but I'm telling you that his polling data that they have, which the public won't see, their internal and exit polling are showing he's either behind or not as far ahead as they thought they were. So he's playing this. If you don't vote for me, you're a racist. Here he is when he was running for state assembly. Okay, did you hear that? Okay, now this is just the beginning. This is when he was running for state assembly. This is not long ago. Nothing's long ago with this guy. He's so young and new to the scene. He's saying that he's not a New Yorker. And because he's from another country, he cannot be a New Yorker. Now he's running for mayor of New York. So he's telling us that the victims of 9/11 are Muslims, which is insane to me. Next, he's telling us that not only does he not feel like a New Yorker, that New Yorkers don't welcome him or people from other countries, and they lie to you and lull you into this false sense that you are a New Yorker and you'll never be one. This is the guy who wants to be the mayor, but he's not done. Okay, now I'm not as familiar with the streets of New York as some of you are, but who in New York had a kid in school? 9/11 happened, right? He said it's 9/11. It just happened. 9/11's going on. The planes went into the building. Were any of you in school or had kids or grandkids in school that day? What happened? They went into fire drill mode at the very least, if not evacuated. They were evacuating schools. I remember I was watching NBC. They had Ashley Banfield was running around like a lunatic in front of schools. They were evacuating the schools because they were afraid that there were going to be, there was a false report. Thankfully, it was false, that there were bombs inside of schools. Okay? They evacuated the schools in New York on 9/11. But he's telling us this story. He was 10, that on 9/11, his teacher took him and this other Muslim out and said, oh, you might be bullied now. These planes just hit the buildings. You know, the firefighters are all gone. The tower fell. But you might be bullied. I'm calling total BS on that. Number one, they evacuated the schools. Number two, no teacher would be so calm about such a thing. Okay? And about Islamophobia right then. What they would have been concerned about was whether they were safe, their students were safe, and their families somewhere else in New York. So I'm calling total BS on that story from Zohan. Oh, see, now this superiority, he's better than the other New Yorkers now, right? Because he's better because he's distinct. If you're on hold, stand by. Now, keep in mind, he was hanging out with that terrorist from the 93 First World Trade Center attack just the other day. Okay, so in that one story, he said 4 times, just in that one little talk, that was when he was running for state assembly, 4 times he said that the victims of 9/11 are Muslims. 4 times, just in that one talk on the campaign trail when he was running for state assembly. Is that how you view 9/11? Now, this last one he said it was a few months ago before this time, at the courthouse with a client. Are you a jihad? That's recent enough where that could be found out. In fact, there may even be a video recording of that. And I'd love somebody to be able to go back. And if it's true, I would like Mamdani to point it out. But that is a close enough instance. And I'm sharing this. If somebody in New York is listening who's with ABC up there, WABC, one of those up there, this story he just told is recent enough that there's a good chance that there's a digitally recorded him going in and out of this building, and we could find out if he was really stopped by a security guard with this client. I'm going to call BS on that one too. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take a break and come back with your calls. And I've got more from Mamdani that I haven't shared yet. But first, I want to talk about the Sloman Shield link, which is absolutely amazing. It turns your home into the future. I mean, you're basically, you're having the home of George Jetson, right? Or the home of the future, right? This is the home that they told us we would all have in the year 2000 when I was growing up. And you can have it. Your Sloman Shield link connects to your Sloman Shield. And it integrates your security system, your Sloman Shield, with all the everyday automation you can imagine in your house. You could connect your alarm system, your cameras, your shades. So you can lift automatically, just on your mobile device, open and close your shades in your house. By the way, no matter where you're at, adjust your thermostat, your television, your garage door, your computer, your stereo, your sound system with just one click. And you don't have to figure out how to do all this yourself. With the Sloman Shield link, Sloman's gives you professional installation and programming, plus 24/7 central station monitoring and automation supports. It already works with the devices you already have. If you have any tech issues or you want to add a new device or scenario or scene, you can call them 24/7. They'll walk you through it right over the phone. And I don't know why this particular copy, I don't have the number on this. I did this on Friday, and I didn't have the number. Hold on. I got to get the number. That's okay. I have it memorized, but I want to make sure so that I get it right. And if I give out the wrong number, that would be worse than not giving it out at all. 833-283-5050. I was right. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. Get your Sloman Shield link. If you're on hold, stand by. Back after this. Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go to the phones when we get back. Now, I want to tell you guys, it is very important because 1 week from today, I'm going to have the meeting with Mike Lindell and MyPillow, and they're going to let me know if they're going to continue supporting the early show and all the extras I'm doing. So go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, so they'll continue the sponsorship for the extra programming after the month is over. All right, here's another clip of Mamdani I'm going to go through. Oh. We'll be back in a minute. Wow, there you go. I'll play more of that when we get back on the air. See, this Muslim card, I think it reeks desperation. What do you guys think? Desperation? Or is he just arrogant? He's so far ahead. I don't think he would go this route if his polls were telling him he had this locked up. Doesn't mean he's not going to win, but he's not as far ahead as we're led to believe, which means there's some hope. All right, here we go. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, you mentioned Swalwell. You know, I think that guy enjoys being one of the most not liked people in America. I think maybe that's his way of thinking that his people will follow him more.
Maybe.
But, man, just to say that he wants to rip down the beautiful new 300,000 square foot ballroom, and then perhaps and it makes sense to put a new bunker underneath it, is the most insane thing I've ever seen, man. It's going to be up. It's never going to be done. They hate it because it's going to be done by President Trump. That's the only main reason. They don't want to have anything to do with President Trump forever.
Well, they better get used to it. The ballroom is going to be there forever. The rest of as long as the White House is there, it's going to be there.
That's for sure, and they can't stand it.
The house that Trump built is what it's going to be called. The house that Trump built.
And every time that room is going to be used so much, it's going to be really a thorn in their side that they can't stand it. So they're coming up with this nonsense that he wants to. The guy follows the law to the letter. He doesn't tell these judges to shut up. I'm not listening to you.
That's right.
He goes out of his way to do everything legally, and he's certainly not going to stay in a bunker and tell me, I'm president forever. Ridiculous. And the last thing I'll say before I go is I think being on the campaign for Rudy Giuliani, unless things have changed, when the high voter turnout comes out, the Republicans are coming out and they're voting, and I think that this guy, I guess, a good chance of not winning.
I think so. All right, appreciate the call, Doug. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. So, over the weekend, Zohan dropped another video. This time he's in looks like a school library with a bunch of books that no one's checking out because everything's electronic now. But listen to this, and this is just over the weekend this dropped. This was after the last debate. Okay, now again, he is the last. It started with the picture with the unindicted co-conspirator terrorist imam from the '93 World Trade Center bombing. But over the weekend, he elevated it. This hardcore pushing this. He is desperate to get the Muslim vote to turn out. So, here's the thing people forget. He won the primary, no doubt, because no one was paying attention and they had a small turnout. So I'm sure he's popular with the Muslims, but maybe he's not nearly as popular with the rest of the city as people think. And to me, what this whole thing that he's doing is he's got two groups he's going after right here. Muslims in New York and black New Yorkers. Because if you notice that press conference he gave, this clip, I'm going to play more of this one here in a minute, but he's in a school library. The first one, when he was talking about his aunt with the hijab after 9/11, he was surrounded by black Muslims. Both of these things tell me that they're either their internal polling or the exit polling for the early voting is showing that he's not doing nearly as well as they thought, and he's desperate to get the Muslims to go out and vote for him. So the question is, how many Muslims are there in New York, and how many of them are there that are registered to vote? And by the way, that goes for the black Muslims too. All right, back to this is Zohan over the weekend in the school library. He was eating with his hands, and that's what people were talking about with that. Yeah, eating with your hands, unless it's a slice of pizza or a hamburger in New York or anywhere in the United States, is odd. Hello? What's that? See, back to that. See, those are the ones who, everyone in the whole country was terrified after 9/11. Everyone. We all were. Even those of us not in New York. Back to the hijab story on the subway. See what I mean? His turnout's not going well, and and maybe even among Muslims, maybe a lot of Muslims don't like him representing him. Well, when he's hanging out with, keep in mind, last week he posted a photograph that he took with a Al-Qaeda terrorist, unindicted co-conspirator from the first World Trade Center bombing. So shouldn't people be looking at him in such a way? See this? And this just came out over the weekend. So why is he doing such a hard... If you're on hold, stand by. I got to take our bottom of the hour break. Why is he taking such a hard push to get the Muslim vote turnout? All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Oh, coastal weight loss secret. You know, I was talking to someone over the weekend that I know, I'm not going to say who, but talking to someone over the weekend that I know, whose wife has lost a lot of weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It's an amazing thing. And with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, this is the first time I've been on any like formal diet plan. And you've got Dr. Zuckerman over there and the team of coaches walking you through everything. I've always done what everybody else says. Okay, I'm not going to have this week or that week. I've never, and I really thought weight loss was something that would be difficult. And even when I first met with Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and he told me losing 25 pounds, I could do that in a month, and I lost more than that. I didn't think I would lose my stomach. I had a completely flat stomach now. I mean, it's amazing. And when I tell you, it was without effort, without starving myself, eating foods I would normally eat, without exercise, other than running my mouth, of course, on the air, and without any shots or pills or anything. It works. It's amazing. I feel great. I've maintained the weight. I haven't gained any of the weight back. And I think I was talking to someone over the weekend, and they were asking about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and they were telling me about someone they know. I told them, I said, those things, people take these injections, these pills, and you can tell a mile away they just look awful. He knows someone who's done that. You can tell them a mile away, that Ozempic face and everything you hear people talk about. And you have to do that for the rest of your life, I understand, or you gain the weight back. They look awful. You want to look like me. You want to look great, like you should look, like you want to look, and you want to look thin, and you don't want to be taking some shot or injections or pills for the rest of your life either. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. We have listeners from all over the United States, men and women, even couples together, going to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They can help you no matter where you are. So give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Okay. Let me take one or two of these calls during the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
IB, good morning.
Hey, IB, what's up?
Man, Mamdani makes me want to puke,
Yeah.
I don't know. He told 7 lies in less than 3 sentences. What 15-year-old kid What 15-year-old kid, no matter where they're from, get asked if they have weapons of mass destruction on their person physically? It doesn't make sense. See, when Democrats do things, they go beyond boundaries and they lie excessively. They go beyond. Okay? This guy obviously is summing up all of his minions. When he says our movement, we have to focus on those words. Who is the R? Our movement.
Good question.
You see? What he wants is them to now rise because he needs that vote. He's in desperacy right now for that vote to then have them. I mean, do you tell me you don't see any women wearing hijabs walking around in New York, the melting pot of the world, and he's saying they have to hide? How many mosques all over the bloody place? I mean, he's lying right in your face.
But you know,
he's lying right in your face.
Here he is. Again, the early voting started over the weekend. Turnout's been high. Him going to this, basically, it's a Hail Mary. It's kind of like, remember Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin? He's phoning a friend. His entire Get Out the Vote campaign right now is geared towards Muslims in New York. That, to me, he should have them locked up. He should have them locked up and already out voting for him. So to me, it seems desperate and that he's in a panic. What do you think?
I think a week ago is when I first said, you know what, this guy, and I can't believe when I thought it. I said, he's Muslim, but he's playing the race card. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But that's what he's doing. He's actually playing the race card because he's gonna need as much blacks as he can to vote, and the white liberals, especially the Karens. Without them and his Muslim people, you know what? It could be a tight race with Cuomo. It could be. We'll see.
I think it is tighter. I'm not saying he's not going to win. I don't want people calling me the next. If I'm not afraid to make predictions. This is an unknown, but it's an unknown to him. All right, appreciate the call. It's an unknown to Zohan. Let me play a little bit more of this. This is from over the weekend. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to take more calls when we get back. See? I mean, so now what we're getting here is that everything this guy does is based on polling data. So their polls among Muslims are saying that he's not Muslim enough. They're upset with him. I'm going to play this when we get back on the air. We're still in break on the radio. I'm going to rewind this and play some of that. I'll take a call or two first, but I'm going to play some more. This is interesting. This is really getting good. We're going to be back in seconds. All right, we're back. Mamdani in full panic mode. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. It's Taj.
Hey, Taj.
I feel I need to do this as a public service. If I were in New York City, and I'm not, but I would disavow anything to do with this Zoran Mamdani altogether. If I were there, I would be leading the Muslims for Curtis Lee.
Now you're Muslim for people that don't. You're MAGA. You're a Muslims for Trump. You're a MAGA Muslim, right?
Oh yes, 100%. And so should everybody else who calls themselves Muslim. No. Muslims are conservative. We're pro-life.
Now, why do you say that? Let me ask you this, Taj. As a Muslim, why would you be Muslims for Curtis Lewa or whoever? Why would you not want the first Muslim mayor of New York as a Muslim?
Because I can tell you, he's not a Muslim. He is a hypocrite to the core. Along with everybody else, if you align yourself with the Democrat Party and you're a Muslim, there's so much daylight between the two.
Like what?
In principle.
Let me tell you. This is Well, you've just touched on, what are you talking about, like the Democrats with their trans stuff and gay issues?
I'm talking about Rashida Tlaib. I'm talking about Ilhan
Omar. No. What I mean is, you said he's not a real Muslim, a true Muslim, that you can't be a good Muslim and be a Democrat. Are you suggesting that because the Democrats are in favor of all these gay things and other things, like this extreme liberal wokeism,
100%,
that a lot of Muslims in New York City don't want anything to do with Democrats? That maybe that's a problem he's running into that he didn't count on?
Oh, I'm pretty sure, 100%. It's just what happens is there's such a... We talk about a silent majority in the, within MAGA.
Yeah.
In the Muslim community, there's so much silence. There's so much under the surface. Just because it's out there. That's why I can't figure out these guys win. They play to the side of... I'm going to tell you, and my brothers and sisters in New York City, if they're hearing me,
yeah,
this guy is the shaitan. This guy is
what does
the
that
devil.
mean?
With that smile on his face, I just want to wipe it off and just like...
What's the shaitan? Does that mean the devil?
Oh, my God.
That means the devil, shaitan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, let me ask you this, Touch, because what I was talking about here with him is he's kind of been under the radarism. We all know he's Muslim, but he hasn't really talked about it. And now, over the last few days, his entire voter outreach is to Muslims. And I'm starting to think that he's gotten some bad polling data and exit polling from the early voting in New York, that he's not doing as well with. He took for granted that the Muslims were going to vote for him, and maybe they're not.
I think you're 100% right on this.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think he's, when you have a three-way race like this, it's going to be a surprising result potentially. They're counting on this, and I just, I pray, because I'm like, I'll tell you this: if he wins, I won't go visit New York. I'm not going to.
No, I wouldn't either. No, I wouldn't either. I would not, and a lot of people won't. Hey, Taj, I appreciate the call. You added a lot to the conversation. Now let me finish. I rewound this a little. I was watching this during the break, and I may have rewound it a little too far. But this is Zohan. I was playing this before the break. This is Zohan in the school library. His latest video. See, hear this? So his internal polls are telling them that the Muslims in New York don't like him, that he's passing as something else, and they don't like him. That he's been even though we know he's Muslim, but he's been kind of trying to hide it. So he's not polling well with the Muslims. That's why this is happening. The 9/11 co-conspirator photograph, the hijab BS story with the aunt, and everything else. They've been telling him that he's a closeted Muslim, he's not Muslim enough, and he's been ashamed of being Muslim, and they're pissed off at him. And they had the early voting started over the weekend. Most of the votes so far, early voting, have come out of Manhattan. They're doing exit polling. The Muslims aren't turning out to vote for Zohan. Now, again, I'm not predicting he's not going to win, but I'm here to tell you, those of you in New York, there is hope. because he's in a panic. And in this school library video that I've been playing, you can see it in his face. He's terrified. He's losing. Oh, man, what a great way to start the week off. I'm going to play more as we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? This is awesome. You're on the air.
Arnold, Texas.
Arnold from Texas. What's on your mind?
Man, I think it's awful what they're doing to those air traffic controllers. I wish there was a way that they could get them paid. You know, they can't be taking money. Those guys put their heart.
Well, what you can do is you can talk to your Democrat friends in the Senate and tell them to vote.
Yeah, no, for real. They got to get those Democrats out there. If I was in a Democratic state and they had people like Schumer or something like preaching like to keep the shutdown going, man, forget that. Like, they got to get those people.
Don't worry about the air traffic
crazy.
Controllers. The military has air traffic controllers. President Trump and the Secretary of War can send the military air traffic controllers to the big airports. Hey, appreciate the call. All right, let's take some more calls here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? By the way, that was a seminar caller trying to get us off of this truth. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dean from Mega Martin County.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I totally agree with you. The dummy there is lying through his teeth, and the media won't call him out on it. There's no way they knew who did who was flying the planes or whatever. They're not shaking him down for world or WMDs.
Yeah.
You know, he's such a liar. I mean, but you know, these sheep just keep eating all his.
You know, I'll tell
BS.
you, I've used this analogy before, but I used to watch American Idol when it was new, and I was watching it, and this was when Obama was running for president, and they had this one night where whoever won this one night would move on to the final 10, and they used to do it was a big deal because they used to do a national concert tour, and that's where they make the money. This one girl who was black, she had a terrible performance. She just sucked, right? And the judges ripped her. She wanted to be, and so Ryan Seacrest interviews her about her poor performance, and then she yells out, which at the time was you've heard of the SOS, the International Signal for. She called out the International Signal for Help for African Americans. All she said was, her response to Ryan Seacrest was, Obama, 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 which meant black people, vote for me, vote for me. Mamdani is doing the same thing. This video from the library is a distress signal from his campaign. It's an SOS, Save Our Campaign.
Yeah. What do you think? You want him to win? I mean,
no.
Just
you think I want this?
No. Give New York a chance to see what bad medicine is.
They know. They've had liberal after liberal. They know. They don't need another dose. No, and this is. No, are you kidding me?
Well, at least our property values will go up down here.
Yeah, but I don't want. We have enough New Yorkers in Florida, don't we? Do we need more?
True.
Do we need more? I mean, come on.
No, you're right. You're right.
We don't need more. All right, take care from Martin County. Oh man, what am I going to talk about? I got so much to talk about here. I've lost track. I've got so much to. Oh, how could I forget? Do you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy? Oh my goodness, neuropathy is the worst. Steve Kane had every symptom of neuropathy in the medical journals. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, the dizziness, loss of balance, falling down all the time, the feeling of pins and needles in your hands and feet, no sensation, no feeling at all. We sought out help for Steve. Steve's doctor said there's no treatment. He went to a neurologist, especially said there's no treatment. Go home and suffer. That's your new life. You've got neuropathy. Get used to it. And we found Lighthouse Medical. Steve went to Lighthouse Medical over 3 years ago. They treated him. Not only did they rid him of all of his neuropathy symptoms, he saw immediate relief the next day. And over 3 years later, his neuropathy symptoms have not returned. Call Lighthouse Medical. Now, they're in Pompano. And if you're local, hey, go call, set up your no-charge consultation that they offer to Steve Kane listeners. But if you're out of town or out of state or somewhere else in the world, they can help you too. Give them a call. Make sure you mention the Steve Kane Show because you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation even with a telehealth appointment, okay? And, Steve had his neuropathy treatment over 3 years ago and still He's neuropathy symptom free. It's amazing. So Lighthouse Medical have a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. Okay. Alrighty. Now, I want to remind you all, if you are a Medicare recipient, it is Medicare open enrollment period. This is the only time of year that you can make changes to your existing Medicare policy. You want to call Chapter. Chapter covers the entire United States. No matter where you are in the United States, they can help you with your Medicare. And if you're happy with your policy, call them anyway. A lot of Medicare policies are going to be gone at the end of the year because a lot of companies are pulling out of Medicare. You're going to get a live agent on the phone. They'll help you absolutely for free. The number's on the screen, 805-754-3033. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare. So give them a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's in the description of the video as well. Chapter can help you no matter what state you are in. All right. Hold on. Okay. We'll be back in less than a minute. Oh, man. If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to play the rest of this. I want to see what else he says. I mean, let me know in the chat, yes or no. Do you think this is desperation on his part? I think so. This is great. Great news. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to jump right back into it. We're seeing, it seems over the weekend, Mamdani's campaign in New York is coming off the rails, that he's in a panic. Let me finish up this. I have not listened further than this in the school library video, but he's doing the international call of help to the Muslims of New York to turn out and vote. And keep in mind, remember, it's not just their internal polling. Early voting has begun. Most votes out of Manhattan, 80,000 as of yesterday, were registered. So the Muslims in their exit polling and in their turnout are not coming out in his in the numbers that they expected from Mamdani. Maybe there aren't as many Muslims in New York as we thought. And the Muslims that are there, a lot of them seem pretty ticked off at him that he's been trying to pass as something else. Wow. This is this weekend. You know what this reminds me of? He's coming out of the closet is what he's doing, as a very, very big Muslim, okay? Do you remember when Ellen DeGeneres came out of the closet? Do you remember that? Do you remember what led up to that? People forget. People probably forgot Ellen DeGeneres. But do you remember what happened with Ellen DeGeneres when she came out of the closet? Do you remember what happened? Now, people had suspected that she was gay for a long, long time because, you know. But she didn't just come out of the closet. She came out of the closet because of something. Does anyone remember? I'll remind you. She had a sitcom, and it was on ABC. And they were going to cancel her sitcom because the ratings were low. She came out of the closet, not because she finally had to do it. She came out of the closet because she was trying to pressure ABC Disney not to cancel her sitcom. It went one more season after that. It wasn't going to have that final season. She came out of the closet when she was desperate and getting canceled. That's what Zohan's doing here. He's desperate. So he's coming out of the closet as a Muslim to the Muslims of New York who obviously aren't turning out for him like he expected them to. Oh. Wow. And they're obviously not turning out to vote for him in the internal polling and the exit polling. Oh, man, this is awesome. There's hope for you, New York. There's hope. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg.
Listen, yes. Listen, I agree with you on this one. He definitely, it was an odd setting for that video. Enclosed in a library, he looked pale. He looked like, oh my God, I may lose this election, which I've been calling your program consistently because you've been consistently saying he's going to crush this election. I said, not quite yet. And you bashed Curtis Lee up in inordinate amount of time.
Maybe it'll be Mayor Slewin soon. Yeah.
If God could only, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But listen, we're agreed on that. But you know what? Listen, I agree with pretty much 90% of Trump's policies. But it's the messaging part. It's like this White House debacle. It didn't have to be this way.
What White House debacle?
The White House debacle, the construction of this.
What's the debacle?
Ballroom. The debacle is, first of all, there's so many instances he said to the American people, we're not going to destroy any existing structures. I love like the East Wing.
Well, I brought something up.
No, wait.
Hold on, I'm up against the break. Now, I about an hour ago, you obviously missed it. Or maybe you didn't, and you're ignoring it. But I went on a very detailed theory as to what's going on with the ballroom. Did you catch that?
I heard about your bunker theory, but that doesn't change the fact that you could have addressed American people.
So hold on, slow down. Greg, I'm here 5 days a week till 9 a.m., okay? This was my theory for those that weren't tuning in. I realized over the weekend there was something going on, and a couple things happened that brought this to my mind. One, the liberals started saying that Trump's making a forever president bunker, that he's making a bunker so that he doesn't ever have to leave office. And then I realized, I was looking at the pictures, and I said, you know, I bet you they built the White House bunker when they gutted the White House when Truman was president. And the Truman gutting was a cover to build a nuclear bunker because there was real threat of nuclear war. You grew up with that, I did too. I think they're building a new modern bunker, and the ballroom is just a cover for it. And they had to tear down the rest of the East Wing so they could make room for the equipment they need to build the new bunker under the White House, a real bunker, not something from 1945.
That theory.
Very good theory.
That theory is complete. it's complete speculation, substantiated
it's
by
a
no
good
evidence
theory.
whatsoever.
No. Well, look who's behind. Look at the donors. Amazon
Can
and
I
Google.
speak for a moment?
Not yet.
Can I speak for a moment?
Not yet. Google and Amazon are two of the biggest donors to the ballroom. They would need to be involved to construct a ballroom, a bunker under the White House that could handle an EMP, for example. So the tech companies donating to the ballroom was odd to me, and it makes sense with that. Anyway, say what you got to say.
So they're buying their way. They're buying their way to get.
No, it's a cover for them to be there. It's a cover for them to be there.
Right. Oh, listen. You don't think everyone's going to know that they're building a bunker in technology?
Nobody said it but me. Who said it but me? No one.
Well, I'm saying no while it's going on, but let me just address it. Why would Trump not say? Why did he say no building or infrastructure was going to be touched? And you even said last week, remember your statement, oh, it's such a tiny little speck. And they're going, look at that. And they're making such a big deal of it. And guess what? In 3 days, the whole dynamic changed.
The bunker builders told him that they had to do it. Hey, listen, I gotta run. You know, if you guys ever watch Better Call Saul, right? They had a whole season about building the underground meth lab. Remember that? In Better Call Saul? Did you watch that? It's fascinating. Now we're talking about a big presidential, but now we know why the zone is so big. I'm telling you, that's it. We may never know because it's classified. But when did they build the original bunker other than when they gutted the White House? The whole Truman thing was a cover. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. All right. 2 hours down, 1 to go. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Our number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are. I'm Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top, come back with your call. Steve Kane will be joining us, and much more right after our top of the hour break. Oh, man. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. You there? Yeah, it's Brian. No, he's got to be on the phone. Yeah. Okay, you there? Okay. Steve? Okay, hold on. Have you been listening? Okay, all right. I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, okay? Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
I am here.
We got 2 minutes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, man. So
you want to tease the gold report?
No.
Just tease it.
I don't know what it is. It's 45 minutes away.
Well, but what about in terms of what's going on with the government close down, you don't think that's going to shake the gold market?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it today. I don't know what it is. I was waiting for William.
Well, I haven't seen it either. I'm going to have my producer. I have a working producer today, so let me use her abilities here.
I'll look right now online. Hold on.
Okay.
But I can't. I don't have the exact price right now.
Let's see what Pat comes up with.
But we're coming back soon. I just don't have time.
Okay, I'm with you.
It's down. A lot, right now, it's just the futures, but it's down almost $100.
$100. That's about right. Pre-opening.
Yeah. But that's just why we do it. Why we just wait for Youngerman for that? I don't know.
Okay, I was just going to tease it.
4038.
Yeah, it's down $99.
Down.
Okay, hold on. All right.
It's down.
All right. All right. 30 seconds. But it may not be at 8:45.
Oh, it's just something that was. This is exciting.
Right.
So just thought it would create a buzz.
Right. All right, the third hour has begun. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane joining us. Lots of good news today, Steve, that we're covering. Zohan's in big trouble. This is just a great day, I tell you.
Well, it's big trouble.
Yeah, big trouble.
I'd love to agree with you. I'd love to agree with you more than you can imagine, because I don't want to see my hometown go to hell in a handbasket, but I don't think Zohan's in any trouble at all.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll recap it for you, but before we do that, it's October. This is the last week of October, right? Monday, or let's see, it's Monday, right. So Saturday is the 1st. It's the last week of October. This is Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Month. And, sudden cardiac arrest, that means you have a heart attack, right? That's the way it is. And, in Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Month, it's a good time to highlight how awareness can prevent you from having sudden cardiac arrest, which is what you don't want to do. And there's no better way to become aware if you're at a risk for a heart attack than going over to Life Imaging FLA. I was just talking the other day, they had a patient go in there and they found that they had over 80% blockage. Over 80% blockage. They had no idea. You know what I found out about blockage? This is crazy. A lot of people, you ever heard these stories? Somebody drops dead of a heart attack, or they have a heart attack, and no one in their family knew. What I realized, and this is what I learned, your blood pressure can adjust to blockage. So you may have a lot of blockage like that and your blood pressure be normal. Your body can adjust to it. It doesn't mean you don't have the blockage. So every day people go to Life Imaging FLA and find that they have these problems. And in Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Month, which October is, get yourself over to Life Imaging FLA. Get that free heart scan with just a few minimum requirements that's valued at $699, and become aware whether or not you're at risk for sudden cardiac arrest or not. Pick up your cell phone and dial pound 250 and just say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. All right, so did you want me to recap this? Because Zohan, Steve, is in trouble.
I would rather not, because I don't agree with you, and I don't think it would be a productive discussion.
Why don't you agree with me?
What I saw in the evidence you submitted, that they were in a panic at Zolan's headquarters, they just finally figured out about race baiting. That's what they're doing, playing the race card. What's unusual about that?
No, because of where it's at. The early voting started over the weekend, okay? And this is what
Right, he's down 30 points. Am I correct on that? In the polls?
The polls on television aren't causing him to do this. There's some polls, there's two polls we haven't seen. The internal regular polls and the internal early voting polls. Early voting has begun in New York, okay? The largest turnout, and it's higher than normal, and the largest turnout has been in Manhattan. And if you these interviews and videos that he did over the weekend, he's not only has he come out of the closet as a Muslim, right? I mean, he's hitting it pretty hard. He's apologizing to the Muslim community for not being out Muslim enough, right? And you can see the panic on his face. He's terrified. So the internal polling of the campaign and the exit polling, I'm not saying he's going to lose. He may still be ahead, but he's not as far ahead as they thought. And they're not within their margin of comfortable, okay? And they're
I can only hope you're right. It would be great if you're right, but I fear that perhaps you may be being a bit optimistic, overly optimistic.
All right.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know.
But I'd be interested to see what the callers think on this.
Well, so far everyone pretty much agrees with me that I've heard from. But if but you're welcome to call in with your thoughts on it, because this recent video that he did from the school library that I was playing before the top, he was apologizing to the Muslim community that he hasn't been openly Muslim enough, and that he's been a bad representative to Muslims in New York because he's encouraging them to hide their Muslim self from the. I mean, that's pretty hardcore. So it shows that their polling is showing that the Muslim turnout isn't what they expected for him. That either they're not showing up, or they're not voting for him, because he is in a he wouldn't be saying the things, the position he's taking, Steve, like that 9/11 was about Muslims that he's been doing on these interviews all weekend. That's a risky move.
They're trying to shore up his base. What's the matter with that?
Okay.
What's illogical about that?
Okay.
That's just basic politics.
It's very risky.
Democratic politicians.
He's been running for a year. The first time he mentioned 9/11 was over the weekend. He's been hiding from 9/11. And then he told us, well, my aunt couldn't wear her hijab on the subway anymore after 9/11 because she was afraid. First time he mentioned 9/11, he's been hiding from it, and now he keeps telling this hijab story over, or as he says, hijab.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
All right.
Wouldn't be the first time.
All right. Well, did you have somewhere you wanted to go, or did you have something?
No, go ahead. Just continue with this.
After you told me you're not interested in what I'm talking about, and you don't want to talk about it, you got to have some idea where to go. I would think.
Whatever is floats your boat.
Well, that's what I've been doing, but you said it's not interested. You don't want to talk about it. So then, you can't tell me that you're not interested in what I want to talk about unless you got somewhere to go, Steve. But no, there's other. Well, you can, but okay. But when there's 50 minutes of the show left, I don't know why you would do that, but. It makes it a little difficult, I can't be here pitching stories to you live on the air until you get interested. But this thing about Zohan. No, I'm not. I want to finish up with this because this is a big deal. It doesn't show that he's going to lose, but what it shows is that there's hope that he may lose, and he's obviously in a panic about it. And he doesn't have a very good poker face. He can't hide. This is a guy who's very spoiled. So, his mommy never told him no. So now for the first time in his life, he's facing not getting what he wanted. And he can hardly contain his, I would say the look I've seen on it, I'm looking at him now at this library. He's in a panic attack. He's having an anxiety attack, and the Muslim, maybe there aren't as many Muslim registered voters as we think in New York, and maybe a lot of those Muslims in New York are illegal, and they're afraid to turn out because ICE has been doing raids throughout New York too, And I'll tell you another group that, I never thought, have any of you ever thought about that? There's a lot of, and when he did the press conference outside, he was surrounded by Muslims wearing the Muslim clothing, right? They were almost all black. They were almost all black Muslims.
They turned out the guys.
Well, no, it wasn't like regular Muslims. They were like black Muslims mostly. There was one woman who looked like a regular Muslim. The rest were black Muslims. So that tells me that he's not doing well with Muslims and he's not doing well with blacks. For whatever reason, I don't know why, I don't know what happened, but people forget he won this primary on a lark because no one was paying attention, and they had a very low turnout. And I don't know how this early turnout for the early voting is compared to past.
The problem that everyone is facing, everyone at least who lives in New York, is for the same as it has been from the beginning. It's the triangulation that is going on that's the problem. The fact that the anti-Mamdani vote is being split between Curtis and Cuomo, the creep. And that's why they don't stand a chance.
Well, yeah, but
unless something happened, and even then,
something's happened.
Isn't it too late to drop out?
Something's happened. No, something's happened because he.
What happened?
I've been watching a lot of the local New York news over the weekend, so I'm following this. He's doing this for the first time. He's doing this hardcore outreach to Muslims and to blacks. So he doesn't have them locked up. He does not have them locked up. And this really backfired on him. New Yorkers, when he was talking, after 9/11, my aunt couldn't wear her hijab on the subway. A lot of New Yorkers were freaked out over the weekend. They were all over social media, young New Yorkers ripping him. There was a common theme of people saying, my aunt, my grandmother, my dad, they couldn't ride the subway either because they're dead. They were in the building. There was so this is really backfired on him in the press. Again, I'm not saying he's going to lose, but he's afraid that he might, and that's good. And this early voting turnout, it's being reported out in New York that the early voting turnout is high. It's a high early vote turnout in New York for an off-year election like this. All right, now I do want to take our break, and as we do that, I want to talk about your Toyota Highlander. You know, your wife Lori, she got 4 new tires from Friendly Tire in Margate, and she got those tires. She got those tires for, think about this, she got 4 brand new tires for hundreds of dollars less than what the dealership wanted for 2. And when she told me that, I went over, I talked to Mike from Friendly Tire because I said before, Steve's wife told me, he's like, yeah. And I said, well, I want to tell everybody about this on the radio tomorrow, but is this the deal everybody gets, or did she get some special cane? He's like, no, that's the same deal everybody gets. And a lot of times I tell Mike, I said, Mike, I don't think sometimes you realize how low your prices are. If you call your competition, you've got prices like from the 90s over here at Friendly Tire in Margate. He has all the name brands you know and love. Give him a call. He also has thousands of used tires in stock, and he also does tire repairs. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. We'll be right back. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute.